On this episode of MythBusters,
Boom!
we're testing the truth behind two common sayings.
Guys, look, I'm doing it.
First up,
Can you knock someone over with just a feather?
with the help of two special guests,
Am I on a big paper airplane?
the guys go to extreme lengths to find out if a feather
What you see being spread before you is used to help birth animals.
really can fell a full-size human. Then, the boys tackle the term backseat driving
I don't want to even look back.
He's freaking me out.
in the most literal way possible,
Go, John, go. Go.
as they find out if a busted-up burglar could outrun the cops
And the first turn.
Oh my gosh.
from the back of a stolen taxi.
He is right next
God.
to us.
Our first myth is an idiom that's way overdue for a reality check.
You could have knocked me over with a feather. You know, I've always wondered about that idiom.
That's widely used, but kind of taken for granted.
Oh, wait. I did see it in a movie once.
How'd that go down?
Like this. That was a bit of a cheat.
Hilarious, but we have real science to do.
All right.
The phrase, "you could have knocked me over with a feather," refers to a mythical someone who's already so shocked or otherwise distracted that the gentlest of touches could send them crashing. So, is it really possible to take someone out with a feather?
For this myth, it seems like a little head-to-head competition would make it a lot more fun.
One-on-one?
I'm thinking 2-on-2. That's right, folks, 2-on-2. That means we'll have to bring in two special guests to fill those roles, and I'm thinking Alan and Tamara from MythBusters The Search.
Both Alan and Tamara were worthy search contenders.
Go red.
I almost puked.
In fact, Tamara's engineering skills helped her take home 2 MVP awards.
It doesn't get any better than that.
And Alan's team spirit inspired everyone.
It's all on you, Alan, as high as you can get.
Now they'll reunite over a table packed with plumage.
So we have a large variety of feathers. Got a couple type of pheasant feathers, silver pheasant, goose feather, wild turkey feather. We have 2 types of ostrich.
These are some of the biggest feathers known to nature. But will they pack a punch?
In order to test this myth, we're going to start in its most basic form. Can you actually knock someone down with a feather?
Taken at face value, this myth wouldn't seem to stand much of a chance.
I really want to try and knock someone over, not impale them.
Before going any further, it's worth finding out exactly how much force it takes to push over an adult human.
Let's talk about the science of balance. Normally, when you're standing straight up, your center of mass is right above your feet. And there's actually a little bit where you can lean and stay upright. But if you go too far at a certain point, there's nothing you can do to stop from falling except for taking a step. We're gonna use a force gauge to find out where that is and what it takes to actually knock someone over.
To measure that force we need to knock someone over, we have this force plate here on the chest mount. The person wearing it's gonna plant their feet because there's that little element of surprise and we don't want them fighting it. Someone else is gonna shove on them and we'll measure just how much force it takes to knock you off your feet.
They start with their most probable pushover, which would be featherweight Tamara.
Plant your feet, no moving, no fighting. All right, and then close your eyes.
Oh, boy.
All right, you ready? Wow!
1.7 pounds.
That's an impressive low number.
What's good for the goose is good for the gander. So Brian suits up
Okay, close your eyes.
and goes down like a ton of bricks.
What was it?
2.2.
Ooh.
Well, I weigh, what, probably about 1.5 times more than you? 1 pound, 1.5 pounds to 2.5 pounds. It's pretty impressive. It doesn't take much to knock someone over.
Obviously, the bigger the sample size, the better. So it's worth giving our two middleweights a nudge.
I feel like this is like a mock execution.
Alan,
Yes, I'm gonna lock my legs.
no
Ready.
clenching.
No punching.
No clenching.
No clenching.
No one said anything about no
Definitely
punching.
punch.
Here we go.
How much was it?
It was 2.4, and then after that whole you touched your chest a bunch and it jumped up. How is that?
2.7.
They've discovered that when push comes to shove, it doesn't much matter the size of the fall guy.
Pretty consistent. You can just about knock anyone over with less than 3 pounds of force.
But can a single bird feather produce anything like that kind of pressure? To have any hope of success, they'll need to think laterally, not literally. So they divide into teams, John and Tamara versus Alan and Brian.
That's not breaking.
That would be pretty good.
In essence, they have to find some way to simulate an unbalanced or frail mental state.
Oh, snap! Unconventional methods of pushing someone over with a single feather. What do you got?
We could mess with their balance, like with one of those exercise balls that rocks a lot.
Like the core exercising balls. Okay.
How about something that keeps their feet from moving so that they can't make any adjustments to balance, and that would also make it easier to fall over.
Exactly.
For maximum impact, each team will keep their schemes a secret from the other. And as construction commences,
Imagine you're like trying to balance, and you see like, just a
it's apparent that both teams are thinking way outside the box.
It's like a clown's torture device.
That's simple, but highly effective and dangerous.
We're about to see serious science meet the circus.
I think my butt's getting closer and closer to you.
And what they've got planned has already put Bo in a tailspin.
What is that?
The most modern dog toy technology.
Get it! What is that, Bo? Oh! You got it!
But before the feathers start flying, it's time to take off with myth number 2. From the bizarre depths of the local news section, our next myth is an unlikely tale of backseat driving. Returning home, a taxi driver finds his front door wide open. He runs inside, leaving the engine running. The trapped burglar jumps from the second floor, fracturing both legs. Desperate to escape, he drags himself into the back of the cab and finds a walking stick to work the pedals. A passing patrol car spots the seemingly driverless car and gives chase. Far-fetched criminal fiction or an incredible tale of driving dexterity.
Hi!
To get this myth rolling, they'll start with the basics. Brian and Bo have procured a big yellow taxi.
This is the car John and I are going to be using as our escape vehicle. And the stick, well, that's going to be our driving cane. The rubber at the bottom, you might think that's going to be helping us, but check this out. These tiny pedals, and with as cramped as it is in here, driving this while escaping cops, that's a big ask.
And a significant safety risk.
When we're driving back here with a stick and we're reaching all the way over, these seatbelts are basically useless. So we're gonna install our own harnesses to these existing anchor points.
John, I think you're about to take the safest New York City cab ride you've ever taken.
John jumps in for a test fitting.
All right, so no use of legs. I'll be sitting like this.
And gets the first hands-on feel for the myth that lies ahead.
You think that's where you're gonna be?
Yeah, I think that's pretty good. My legs are noodles right now.
All right, if you just hang out there for a while.
With the harness in place and some last-minute detailing done,
Oh! Great.
they're ready to roll.
Ready to go start our criminal career?
Let's do it.
All right.
The venue for testing this fractured fable is a large, empty parking lot that should afford plenty of room for some dangerous driving. To make sure they don't kill themselves, they've called in an expert to at least familiarize themselves with some of the daredevil techniques of the getaway driver.
Looks like the law, John.
Yep, that's the car that's gonna be chasing us down.
The man with the badge is veteran law enforcement pursuit driving instructor Marcus Smith.
Right, so our cat burglar's gonna need some training. If you want to outrun a cop, what do you suggest?
First off, no chance. But I got some things in mind. Who wants to go first?
I think there's your answer.
Let's do it.
All right, let's go.
Good luck.
Taking the cane.
Coming up, the going gets greasy as our two teams try for a one-feather knockdown.
He's moving! He's moving! Keep going!
Then the boys both take a crash course in evasive driving.
Drive.
And they'll need all the help they can get.
It's the tall, skinny pedal on the right.
To test the phrase, "You could have knocked me over with a feather," the boys, plus special guests Alan and Tamara from MythBusters The Search,
You guys are skinnier than I am.
have split into two teams. They've each devised 3 different ways to unsettle someone to the point where a feather could prove their undoing.
Our first idea is going to be put a feather underneath them and yank it out, much like a rug, and down they go. The second is to tie them up real tight so their legs can't move at all. And the third is to make the ground as slippery as possible, giving them absolutely no footing while we're coming at them with that feather.
Come this way, please.
They'll test each method on one person from the other team. First up, it's Tamara's task to try to maintain verticality.
Welcome to what we like to call the playground. To begin with, I recommend an outer suit. Do you feel prepared for the playground?
No.
What you see being spread before you is used to help birth animals.
This is water-based, so it's fun.
It's fun.
I'm anticipating that this is going to be a lot like an adult version of a slip and slide, but probably way more epic.
Please step into the middle of the playground juice.
Whoa.
As one of the slipperiest substances out there, the birthing fluid should significantly reduce the friction between the plastic and the soles of Tamara's feet.
Oh no!
Did you just break your
You broke it.
Slipperiness is at the heart of our setup because that idea that you can knock someone over with a feather is about a surprise. That sudden jolt giving them no mental ability to find their footing.
It's a perfectly sound theory.
How's that going for you?
Nothing. No.
That's not translating into practice.
Tamara seemed a little unsteady at first, but no matter what feather we tried, we could not knock her over.
So next, John suits up
All right, so running start.
to try out technique number 2, the feather underfoot ploy.
John, would you be so kind as to step on this feather, please?
With both feet or one foot?
both feet. Close your eyes.
Everything's lubed.
Seems the plan here was just a bit too slick. The frictionless feather did nothing to upset John's equilibrium. But Team Brian still have one card left to play, a devilish device they've scratch-built called the Hobbler.
Look, the spirit of this myth is that someone could be so disoriented or discombobulated that something as light as a feather would be able to knock them off their feet. Put your left leg through this loop. We want to replicate that emotional fragility with this rig that we call the Hobbler, which physically restricts the wearer's legs so that they cannot take a step back. Hopefully that means that the slightest push, like from a feather, will be enough to get them past the brink. Now, son, have you ever ridden a Hobbler before?
No, sir.
You'll want to keep your arms and legs within the ride at all times.
With no flex in his lower parts, it should take less of a lean backwards for John to lose his balance.
He's moving! He's moving! Keep going!
All to no avail.
Oh,
Even outright assault proves ineffective.
He stopped moving. He stopped moving.
So, without a shred of success, it's time for Team Brian to step up as the featheries
you gotta hit it with it.
and perhaps prove they're no pushovers. But right now, it's time for John and Brian to get their backsides trackside. To test the tale of the burglar's backseat getaway, the boys have called in one of California's finest and fastest.
Let's do it.
Before anyone climbs in the backseat, Marcus Smith's job is to teach them some general evasive driving skills from the front seat. And who knows, they might still come in handy.
I got something planned we can do for J-turns. You ever heard that before?
No, actually. What is that?
Good question. Best answered with a high-speed demonstration.
We hit the emergency brake, rear tires lock up, car spins around, and we go back in the other direction.
Not sure if that's the best way to evade the cops, to turn around and head back at them, but that was impressive.
You know a car ride's gonna be really fun when you're already laughing your head off just going in a straight line. And that was obviously the case when Marcus was driving. He also gave me some really great advice, and which is when you're doing precision driving, you want as little tire slide as possible, because that extra adhesion will give you the most power and speed possible, except when you're doing J-turns, and you want the slide to turn 180 as fast as possible. Oh boy.
Now let's see how well John follows instructions.
So while the car is spinning around, but the car remains in drive so that when
Yes, so you don't have to change any gears. All you do is go back to the throttle, and you're going forward.
it sounds so simple when you say it and when you do it.
Faster right.
Signs are clear.
And brake. Steer. Release it. Drive, 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 drive.
Oh!
It's the tall, skinny pedal on the right.
Oh! Yeah!
It's a rookie mistake, but he will get another go.
All right, this one might be better now that John's located the gas pedal.
You at 20, and brake. Steer. Release it. Throttle. There you go. Easy money.
That was great!
And with John in the swing of things, Marcus decides he can do it again, only backwards.
Faster. You're at 15.
This, if it works, is a reverse J-turn.
Oh, wait! We did it! Yes!
Good job.
I think we got
There
away!
you go.
My first ever set of J-turns. How did I do? Well, I think I did pretty well considering how short this track actually is. And they feel just as intense as they look when you're hitting the throttle, pulling that e-brake and going, and you literally feel the G's pressing on your face as you hopefully, which I did, go 180 degrees and speeding back the way you came. Oh, yes!
How'd the classes go?
Good.
You trust him?
Now it's Brian's turn to sharpen the skills that might help a cat burglar slip through the arms of the law.
And now. Let it go and throttle. Excellent.
Woo! That was smooth, Brian!
And that's an instant green light to carry on sternwise.
Rotate hard. Good. Beautiful.
I don't think I'm backing out regular ever again in my life.
So much for stage one of Extreme Driver's Ed.
Now it's time for a more advanced evasive driving course. Boop. I'll be riding shotgun for this one just so we can learn the ropes.
Stage 2 of our training is a course we've set up to practice some evasion.
As Officer Smith demonstrates, the course involves slalom runs and radical reverses, all designed to be driven at high speed. This is bread and butter for Marcus. But for John, it's all a blur.
It was so fast, I almost don't remember what happened.
Now it's his turn to take the wheel.
Get up to speed, get up to speed, get up to speed, right there. Now. Throttle.
Oh, snap!
Looking from outside, it looks like you totally figured it out.
Good. I'm glad from the inside. I'm just going, woo! The entire time.
So let's see if Brian can restore a little dignity to proceedings.
Here we go. Hey, that was great. Nice and easy. Boom! That was basically a picture-perfect run.
Heck yeah. I'm ready to evade some
All those fancy J-turns that Marcus taught us were awesome, but the whole evoc training was more to acclimate me and Brian to the swerving, the brake checking, and just the all-around adrenaline rush of a high-speed car chase.
And they'll attempt the high-speed chase with one major impediment: driving from the backseat.
Gaining on your fast.
He's gaining on me. Go, John, go! Go!
Testing the myth that a feather can in fact knock you over,
Oh, no!
Did you just break your
You broke it.
Brian and Alan have failed to fell their opponents.
She's happy about it.
Now it's Team John's turn.
For Tamara and me, our 3 secret plans for trying to knock someone over with a feather are: 1, challenging them on a balance ball to see if we could push them over then. 2, attaching a very long pole to their back and tipping the top over with a feather. And 3, we're gonna try a drive-by feathering.
They'll start with the simplest, the balance ball challenge.
It's gonna be all about distraction. So while we have our test subjects keeping their balance on this ball, we'll be hurling paper airplanes and feathers at them and trying to knock them over. Now, remember, it doesn't count if they just fall off. We have to knock them over with a feather.
What terrible thing is this now?
What could be worse than a lube ramp? Okay, now
Okay.
get yourself situated.
Sure, core workout, right?
This time, some of the feathers have been glued into their paper planes.
Ah! Oh!
And just one hit could be all it takes.
Stop being so gentle, Tamara! We had Alan on a balance ball, which he's never done before. We threw paper airplanes at him. We took targeted shots at his body with feathers. Last attempt, big guns.
What is this? That's
You
not
ready,
one
man?
feather!
Dude! We even pulled out the big guns and rained down upon him, and he still didn't fall over. Wait!
Oh! Oh, good!
So, Team John cuts its losses and moves on.
Can you put your arms back, please?
Like,
These holes.
like this?
Yeah.
Is there
Then
water
John?
involved?
No water, but plenty of science.
Our test is all about leverage. John is gonna go up, he's gonna sweep a feather to the target that's at the top of that pole, and hopefully knock them off balance and make them fall down with the feather.
I think Alan's going over. Good luck, man.
So what's the idea behind this anyway? Well, I'm gonna take a feather and poke the top of our pole. Now, not only will that exert a force, but also a torque. Torque being a product of force and displacement from a pivot point. Now, the higher up you go, the more torque it'll exert, and we're hoping that's enough to knock someone over. You kids ready?
Yeah.
Just a gentle application of this feather that's been taped to the end of the stick. We'll see if it works. Okay, so this end of the feather is a bit bendy. I'm going to plan B.
Okay.
John's plan B is to use the stiffer quill end of the feather. That might seem like a bit of a cheat,
Oh, what happened?
but it's a moot point. With the apparatus in ruins, it's decided to move on to method number 3.
For our next attempt, armed with my trusty feather lance and my trusty steed, we're gonna attempt a drive-by feather knockdown. Now remember, the whole expression is about the surprise and the intimidation, so when we come charging down with Snowflake here going, "Meow!" and this lance, it might put him in the mindset of going, whoa, you could have knocked me over with a feather. All right, Tamara, you ready?
Yeah.
With Tamara behind the wheel, John lines up his target.
Wow! Yeah, eat that, villain!
I'm still standing, right?
Looks like it.
You going again?
You bet he is. This is Team John's last shot at bringing down Brian with a feather touch.
Drive-by feathering in 3, 2, 1. Yeah!
Don't think that worked.
Me neither.
I think John and Tamara gave that their best shot, but even with all that speed, the feather didn't have much to it. It felt like the breeze from the truck was bigger than the breeze from the feather, so I'm still standing.
It was more of a jest than a joust. That's left this myth in a ticklish spot. They could bust it right now, or,
How about we try something different?
That could work.
and by something different, it's safe to assume John means something downright bizarre. Meantime, the myth of the backseat burglar is about to kick into gear.
Meet John, our cat burglar.
Ah, my legs!
Now with broken legs. He's got to get to his getaway car somehow, because I hear sirens. Good luck.
All right, here we go.
That's where this myth begins, as our busted-up criminal drags his sorry carcass into the back of the car to hide out.
Okay, here I go.
Finding the engine running and a handy walking stick, he attempts to not only drive off, but to outrun the law. If he can't...
But what does outrunning actually entail? In our case, it means that the cop car can't catch the taxi cab in our half-mile course. And of course, by catch, I mean spinning out of control.
We'll know everything is over when we get hit by what's called the pit maneuver. Marcus, can you tell us about that?
Yes. What I'm gonna do is approach your car, place my fender on your fender, put a nice little gentle steer in it, which was gonna spin you around and stop you in your tracks.
Well, that sounds nice and simple, but I'm sure it'll be terrifying once I'm actually in the car being pit maneuvered.
It will.
What makes the pit maneuver so effective? Well, it's all about something called sideways torque. Now, that happens because the front wheels are so far forward from where you're getting hit that it causes the rear wheels to slide out. When they start to slip, a term called kinetic slipping, well, the forces keeping the car going straight are way less, hence, the spin.
And the best way to get a feel for the pit is for Marcus to demonstrate.
All right, so what happened last time the cops pulled you over?
The cops have never caught me before.
Oh, I think that's about to change.
All right, we are departing in 3, 2, 1. I don't like it that he's following us.
I don't want to even look back.
He's freaking me out on the camera.
Just relax, just relax.
Oh, jeez.
So friendly and gentle.
I know.
There's like a little, like, did you hit a rock? And the next thing I know, we're facing this way.
And pointing straight back at Officer Smith's black and white.
He was holding me hostage! Don't shoot! It's him! It's just him!
After a morning of motoring madness,
Why, Marcus? Why would you do that?
the guys are a touch, what's the word? Overstimulated.
He was holding me hostage! Don't shoot! It's him! It's just him!
And the best way to bring them back down is a spell of hard work. Brian and John do their own heavy lifting.
Just two really strong dudes. Nothing to see here.
Hold these so they don't fall. All right.
And also, can you get me a sandwich?
Yeah, right.
As they set up the twisting half-mile-long course that they'll both soon be driving,
Oh, gosh.
with Officer Smith in hot pursuit.
We're not doing a drag race here, but we had this in the shop, and I'm definitely gonna use it.
Winner!
So the scene is finally set for one highly unconventional game of cops and robbers. John suits up first for what could be the wildest ride of his life.
We've already seen that I can drag myself into the back of the car and get into position. But for safety's sake, we're gonna start in the car already harnessed in. Right, Brian?
Yeah, let's get you in.
It's an unsettling feeling to be shackled across the back seat, but that's nothing compared to the troubles that lie ahead.
Is it me, or did it just get more difficult?
So where are we at with knocking someone over with a feather? Well, we tried all the conventional stuff. And then we got a little bit more creative with drive-by featherings and slippery slopes.
Oh, no.
To no avail. But it's time to give this feather a little bit of a flight of fancy and get real creative, so we're not done yet.
For both teams, it's their very last shot at success.
I think our best bet's gonna be something like the hobbler, where it's tying up their legs and keeping them from going anywhere.
Well, you know, when we were playing with these feathers, I was actually really impressed by the tensile strength of some of them. It seems like you could almost use it like a rope or a string.
What's our plan? To build a bola. What's a bola? Well, it's essentially this, a piece of string with two weights at the end of it. You're running along, and we throw it at you, wrapping around itself and tangling you up. Down you go. Except in our case, we're replacing that string, well, with a feather.
To dial in their technique, they'll start off with a bola made from Kevlar string and a couple of heavy nuts for weights.
Whoa! It's better. It's going around you more,
Yeah.
but it's still not tingling.
And they won't just be throwing it. After all, this is MythBusters.
This is our Bolo gun. It's a modified 2-barrel air cannon. Put a weight in each barrel with the string or feather connecting them. Has a spreader bar system where we can ratchet it out, tuning in that perfect spread of the Bolo to entangle them. Of course, a valve and an air reservoir powering it all.
Now to see if their test bola actually works.
Air supply is hot. Bolo gun test at 60 PSI in 3, 2, 1.
Oh! That's a Bolo! They got a little more heat on it, but that worked. And they're just missing each other.
Yeah.
It's perfectly wrapping. I don't think you can do better than that.
And if that looks ingenious, you ain't seen nothing yet.
I think we need to move way outside the box on the next one.
How about we move inside the box and do some 360 camera footage with a VR headset and just bombard them at all angles with feathers?
Yeah, I actually really like the idea of moving from the physical feather into the digital realm and, I guess, knocking them over with a digital feather.
Which might call for a slightly more detailed explanation.
Well, this little special rig here contains 6 individual cameras that simultaneously film really specific portions of the environment. When that's done, software stitches all that video together into a seamless 360-degree video. Now, you take that kind of video and you put it into these goggles, and it'll let you look up, down, left, right, even behind you, as if you were there where the camera was filming.
All they have to do now is shoot a few shaky scenes.
Decoration phase complete.
But there's some tricks to the trade.
Now, the hardest part about filming in 360 is, well, obscuring the camera guy. But we've got that covered. You get it? Because of our fancy feather paper airplane, I can now hide under it and obscure myself from the viewers. All right.
Go!
This is where the virtual feather concept takes flight.
I'm doing it! Guys, look, I'm doing it! The whole purpose for that sequence was so that we could record 360 degrees of unstable movement and consistent bombardment from balls and feathers and paper airplanes so that no matter which way they look, they're being hit with some kind of stimuli.
All these virtual projectiles are simply meant to unbalance and confuse. They'll still have to knock someone over with a real feather. Meantime, Tamara's come up with another idea for their 360 wobble cam.
My beard helps me think.
It's the fear factor.
This scene is all about the jump scare. Our participants start in a dark and foggy cave, and when they least expected, BAM! I think we got something going here.
It's an off-kilter concept that just might be crazy enough to work. After a day of high-intensity advanced driver training,
Boom!
Good job.
the guys are ready to test the myth of the backseat burglar getaway.
I'm watching the cop cars, John. They're coming fast.
John and I each are gonna have 3 tries on this course to try to beat Marcus to the finish line and avoid being pitted. John's gonna go first, and I'll be riding shotgun. That way I can pull that emergency brake if anything goes drastically wrong.
Well, this is it, and I'm extremely nervous. I mean, I know I can reach the steering wheel from the back seat, and likewise, I can reach the brake pedal and the gas pedal with the cane, but at speed, I honestly just don't know.
All right, let's hit it.
Here we go!
The aim is quite simply for John, with a 10-second head start, to beat Marcus to the finish line.
Woo!
Who's gaining on you
He's
fast?
gaining on me. Go, John, go! Go! I mean, the entire experience was so counterintuitive. I literally just drove this car from the back seat. But the rubber foot on the cane never slipped off the pedals, and I did a pretty good job steering with one hand.
He's paid up about half the course.
Did he?
Yeah.
Here we go!
He's right behind
We
you.
can do this, brother!
It's touch and go, but John just keeps his nose in front.
Are we gonna make it?
You're gonna make
Are we
it,
gonna
John.
make it?
You're good.
Oh my God, we're gonna make it!
Against all predictions, and despite Marcus's best efforts, he's actually outrun the chase car.
So far, I'd say round 1, bing, 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 yes, goes to the cat burglars. But we're gonna give Marcus 2 more tries before we swap over to Brian driving. You ready?
Oh, yeah.
And we're off!
Again, John gets off to a smooth start
Oh, he's off after you, John.
Is it?
before Marcus comes after him, all guns blazing.
We gotta get out of here. I'm not gonna let you go to prison, man.
And somewhat surprisingly,
Come on, Johnny boy!
John again avoids being pitted, making it 2 for 2.
Nice. Damn it.
Driving from the backseat of a car with a cane seems impossible, but if you're desperate enough, you can do anything.
Now to see if third time's a charm.
Off you go.
Where is he? Where is he?
He's waiting. He's waiting. He's at the line.
John wants a clean sweep, but for Officer Smith, police pride is on the line.
Oh, he's closing in fast.
He gets up close on the last straight, but runs out of road.
Hold it steady. Hold it steady. Hold it steady. Nice, John. He was positioning to pit you.
I know I made it 3 times out of 3, but if this course was just 100 feet more that way, we would have gotten pitted 3 times out of 3.
Or without a doubt.
And with Brian's backseat skedaddle yet to come,
He's off. He's coming after us.
this myth could still take another turn for the unexpected.
Oh, my gosh.
You got it. You got it.
So far, we have tried several conventional and unconventional methods of knocking someone over with a feather,
Don't think that worked.
and they have all failed.
He stopped moving. He stopped moving.
We're hoping to crack this idiom with a bolo made out of multiple pheasant feathers joined together. Now, I know what you're thinking. The idiom is knock me over with a feather, but I will have you know there is actually a Japanese chicken called an onagadori whose tail feathers can grow up to 27 feet long.
It's easier to string 2 pheasant feathers together than it is to say pheasant feathers.
You look so silly. This is fantastic. Clear down range, going hot.
Given this barnyard bola will have more drag than the Kevlar string, they dial up the PSI from 60 to 80.
Feather prototype Bolo at 80 PSI in 3, 2, 1.
Oh! That's exactly what we're looking for.
It works. The feathers are ductile enough to twist and wrap tight. Now they're ready to see if it works on real human legs.
Woo!
What do you think?
It's pretty intimidating.
The instructions for those about to become entangled are simple.
You want to jog like you are trying to not go to the bathroom. So kind of legs together, gentle pace like that.
Like a lady, John.
Like you're holding a ball between your legs.
Yeah.
You'll start running at some point. We will deploy our weapon at you, and hopefully you'll come crashing down or live, one of the two.
Or
Come
live.
crashing down or live.
Yeah, don't worry about that.
I have complete trust in Brian and Alan, but that rig still is pretty intimidating because it's just an air cannon basically pointed at you while you're running towards it.
Nonetheless, John bravely lines up to be air cannon fodder.
John versus a feather bolo in 3, 2, 1. Well, he had to put his hands down. I'm gonna ask you, what happened?
I think I tripped myself.
All right, well, a smaller target?
Where would we be able to find a smaller target?
I think both somewhere.
I have no idea, man.
To me, the rig was intimidating and fired well, but I'm a pretty heavy dude and I don't think the Bolo had enough mass to stop me.
But lightweight Tamara's a whole different prospect. This will be Team Brian's best and last shot at knocking someone down with a feather.
Tamara versus the feather bolo in 3, 2, 1.
In their pursuit of the crippled cat burglar getaway tale, the boys are already 3 up on the law.
When we started this myth, I didn't give myself a ghost of a chance of driving from the backseat with a cane, even going in a straight line.
Come on, Johnny boy!
John, go! You're gonna make it! You're gonna make it!
Bing, bing, bing. Yes.
Damn it! John spent 3 rounds antagonizing Marcus, so it's my turn to be followed by a rather determined police officer while driving with a stick, which I have no practice at. So my fear is about here, but my curiosity, it's up there.
This should be interesting. While it's Brian's first attempt at backseat driving, Marcus now has a real feel for the course.
Here we go. Oh, shoot! And the first turn.
Oh.
You got it, you got it.
Reaching the wheel and pedals wasn't a problem for me, but this whole thing, kind of hairy, because what you can't control is anxiety, and there's plenty of that coursing through your veins when the cops are after you. I'm fleeing from Marcus, make the last turn, open up into the straightaway, and I see him behind me in the mirror, and I think I can probably get away if I do a J-turn. But instead, I just gun it, hit the gas, and beat him to the finish line.
Brian takes the flag by a narrow margin.
Damn it. You know you're lucky, right? I was on you the whole way around until that last corner.
I know, I saw it.
My heart is pounding, my adrenaline is rushing. I'm not very steady, but I know I got away at the end.
Brian's realized that success depends on steely nerves as much as skill.
1 down, 2 to go. You ready?
Yeah, are you?
Oh, yeah.
Let's do it.
And for the final 2 runs, his technique and his temperament will both be stretched to the limit.
He is right next to us.
Against all odds, the guys are looking at a clean sweep as Brian starts his second run in the backseat getaway myth.
Okay, he's off.
He's off.
He's off. He's coming after us.
But Marcus, it seems, has other plans.
All right, final turn here. He is right next to us. Oh!
All right.
You good?
Yeah.
And that purty yellow paintwork tells the tale.
I'm coming around this last turn, and I look just at the turn, and all I see is cop car. And my thought is, how do I, and before I say evade him, I'm spinning.
You came out like a ghost.
Good.
That was bananas.
Yeah, I'm tired of playing with you guys.
Yeah, closer up.
With the score at Robbers 4 and Cops 1,
Here we go.
they're off in their final backseat rat run.
Oh, no, okay. Back into that turn.
But Marcus can smell blood.
Oh, holy moly. You good?
Yeah.
After a total of 6 runs, the score settles at 4 burglars and 2 cops. Now, you can really tell at the end Marcus was dialing in that pit maneuver because he's getting used to this really short course.
When I realized that they wasn't as reckless as I thought they may be with driving with a stick, it made me feel safer getting up there, taking care of pit a little early. Police honor is still intact.
Maybe so, but what about the myth?
Well, seeing as the final score was 4 burglars and 2 cops, I feel like this myth wants to be called confirmed.
Yeah, but it's such a short course, and with a few hundred more feet, I think Marcus would have had us every time.
Okay, well, depending on the length of your getaway run, the least we could say is plausible.
It's plausible.
Hey, thanks for all the training, man.
Thanks!
Anytime.
Woo-wee!
Let's go.
So far, the bizarrely brilliant feather Bolo cannon hasn't quite worked the way it was meant to.
I think I tripped myself.
But there's a more petite target waiting in the wings.
Tamara versus the feather Bolo in 3, 2, 1.
You fell over! You got knocked over!
Holy moly!
Check that out!
At last, after multiple failures, a genuine knockdown.
The Bolo wrapped around, locked her in tight, and down she went face first. The legs couldn't move at all.
So that went smashingly. I was definitely head over heels for the Bolo gun, and it turns out I can be knocked down with the feather.
Now, to see if Team John can repeat that result with their highly unorthodox virtual reality head spin.
We've made VR environments that are really gonna mess with Brian and Alan's heads. In addition to that, they're gonna be on an uneven platform. But it's not about falling off the platform. We actually need to knock them over with a feather. So we're also gonna be tickling them, poking them, and prodding them in hopes that they fall over.
I've decided that Alan's gonna go first, so Brian, please go to the waiting room. We'll call you when we're ready.
Okay. Good luck.
Yeah, I'm gonna need it.
He might also need a barf bag.
Okay, where do I throw up?
Anywhere you want.
That way, on top.
Hey! Comfortable?
This is gonna be a nightmare. So far, it looks like their rig is designed to make my feet unsteady in the real world while giving me some kind of VR experience that doesn't sync up with what my feet are doing. All right, it's going.
Is it going?
Oh, okay. There's people throwing. There's people throwing things at me.
With Alan's sensory confusion at peak levels, it's time to bring on the real feathers.
Whip him, Tamra!
Oh, no, no, no! No, whip him, no!
Yes.
No, I want to make it to the end. That was hell. I couldn't tell where my feet were. I couldn't tell what was going on.
All right, here's the most important question. While you were teetering on the edge of falling, was it the feather that knocked you over?
I feel like I would have just fallen over no matter what Tamara would have been doing with feathers.
So, strictly speaking, Alan wasn't knocked down by a feather.
Let's see.
And now there's just one man left standing.
Can we start this one?
Yep, whenever you're ready. Whap! Just whap him!
This is great. Oh, look, there's a feather on the paper airplane. Aw. Am I a paper airplane? Woo!
Brian seemed so in control for most of the video that I was pretty concerned that it wasn't gonna happen.
Is this meant to be playing in reverse? How come my airplane is flying backwards everywhere?
But then right at the critical moment,
You okay?
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I have to give you just a smidgen of credit. I was looking at this feather right as I was reversing with the airplane, and a feather hit me in the face right where I looked. And that's actually what caught me off guard.
Yes.
A virtual feather paired up with a physical feather.
just as the idiom says, a virtual feather perfectly timed with a real feather knocked him over.
Well, I'd say we'd throw in everything we can at this myth.
Yeah, and it was nice having Alan and Tamara back to help out.
So, how are we gonna call it?
Well, there were two distinct results. One, you definitely knocked Tamara over with your feather bolo. And two, we got you pretty unstable with our VR. And by your own admission, you did say it was one distinct feather that knocked you over.
Sounds like myth confirmed to me.
Totally, dude.
So, that surprise you?
I'd say you could have knocked me over with a feather.